Once in the heart of Lisbon, there was a club that defied all the odds and became a member of the newly crowned Big Four. Os Belenenses, a club that lifted the league title in 1946, stood as a proud institution along with Porto, Sporting and Benfica. But as the years passed, financial difficulties and internal struggles would set the club on a path to one of the craziest stories of greed, fan perseverance and football in general. The club would lose its soul, its fans and its legacy until the fans took charge and reclaimed what was rightfully theirs. This is the sad rise and fall and rise again of Belenenses. Belenenses was a powerhouse in the early years of Portuguese football. The club was founded in 1919 and reached the pinnacle of Portuguese football in the mid-20th century. Belenenses won 3 Taça de Portugal titles and consistently challenged to be one of the country's biggest teams. The club secured its sole Portuguese league title in 1945-1946, narrowly surpassing Benfica by just 1 point, marking the first occasion that one of the big 3 would become the winner of the League of Portugal. And in the next year, the 14th of December 1947, the team played Real Madrid in a friendly match in the newly inaugurated Santiago Bernabéu, with Madrid claiming a 3-1 victory. Legends like Fernando Chalana, Vicente Lucas and Matateo would all adorn the blue and white for Belenenses. Legendary managers would be at the helm, like Candido de Oliveira, which by the way, my good friend Kevin had an amazing thread that you can see here, and I'll link in the description for you as well because it's very good, would recommend. But also other managers like Augusto Silva and Jorge Jesus. And the club still had notable players in the early and late 2000s, such as Ruben Amorim, João Palhinha, Rolando, even Freddie Adu. And actually, a fun fact for you all, in the 1970s, Jose Mourinho actually started his footballing professional career at Belenenses. The 1950s to the 1980s saw Belenenses remain a competitive force within Portugal, but unfortunately never managing to replicate the 1946 title win. But other things were won for Belenenses. They won 2 more Taça de Portugal in 1959-60 and 88-89. Belenenses remained a respected name within Portugal, frequently making deep runs in domestic competition and also competing on the European stages. It was not until 1973 that Belenenses actually finished runners-up against Benfica, but this time by 13 points. However, there were some troubling times for Belenenses in the 80s, as they were actually relegated for the first time in 1981-82. But they were never in the second division for long, as they frequently found their way back into the top flight. As the 21st century began, Belenenses struggled to maintain its place among Portugal's elite. The club often found themselves middle of the table or in relegation battles. Between 2000 and 2007, the club's performances were inconsistent. The 2005-2006 season saw Belenenses finish 4th from bottom, which at the time would have had them relegated. However, as Gil Vicente actually fielded an ineligible player that season, Gil Vicente were relegated in their place. Despite a gradual decline in performances and league finishes, Belenenses was still not to be messed with. In 2007, they made a fairy tale run to the Taça de Portugal final, where unfortunately they lost to Sporting 1-0 thanks to a goal from Lee Edson. This run provided a glimmer of hope for the club, reminding them of the stages that they should be competing at. However, financial instability continued to loom on the club, leading to some turbulent times ahead. Following on from their 2007 final to the Taça de Portugal under manager Jorge Jesus, Belenenses faced a series of challenges within the league, as they struggled financially and could no longer keep their star players and managers, with Jorge Jesus leaving for Braga at the start of the 2008 season. That season, Belenenses had finished 15th, narrowly avoiding relegation again due to another technicality, this time a point to Estrela de Amadora due to financial mismanagement, as they would go down instead. But Belenenses had run out of luck by the 2009-2010 season, as they were relegated as they finished 15th again. They spent a few seasons this time in the second league, and this is where the trouble would start to begin. In 2012, grappling with significant debt and financial challenges, the club's members decided to sell 51% of its SAD to Code City, a company headed by Rui Pedro Soares. Alongside the stock sale, an agreement was established, granting the founding club special rights to veto power over certain SAD decisions, with the ability to repurchase stock with fixed prices and dates, in 2 time windows, the last of which between October 2017 and January 2018. Additionally, a protocol was devised to govern relations between the club and the SAD, with the club retaining a 10% in the SAD. At first, the SAD model seemed like a lifeline for Belenenses. By creating a separate corporate structure, Belenenses could attract outside investment, improve financial stability, and remain competitive in theory. The club could focus on the footballing aspect and historic identity of Belenenses, while the new entity managed the business and the long-term financials of the club. Again, in theory, this meant that the club could have better player acquisitions, stronger infrastructure, and long-term sustainability. After this merger, things seemed on the up for Belenenses, as in the 2012-2013 season, they were promoted back to the first division of Liga Portugal, with a record-breaking score of 96 points. They returned to the top flight next season, where they narrowly missed relegation by 4 points. But next season, they shocked the league. Belenenses finished 6th in the Liga Portugal, meaning that they would qualify for the Europa League playoffs. They reached the group stage of the 2015-16 UEFA Europa League after eliminating Göteborg 2-1 on aggregate and also beating Rheindorf Altach 1-0 on aggregate, but unfortunately they finished 4th and bottom of their group, recording a surprising 2-1 away win against Basel, but drawing 0-0 twice to Lech Poznan and losing the return match against Basel, in addition to losing both games against Fiorentina. In the next 2 seasons, things looked stable enough for Belenenses. In May 14th, 2014, Code City and the SAD had disagreements with the club owners and the fans of Belenenses. The SAD actually terminated their contract with the club, alleging, among other violations, debts of the club that were owed to the SAD, and the fans and Belenenses accused the SAD of not wanting them to buy back their shares in the club. And in 2017, the club would enter turmoil. Tensions between Code City and the club's membership deteriorated, leading to legal disputes over financial and contractual matters, including the claimed right of the members to purchase the stake at a later date. Remember, they had the 2 windows that they could buy in 2017 and 18, but the SAD decided not to go ahead with it. This was a condition that was alleged to be a part of the original sales agreement, but unfortunately, the courts ultimately sided with Code City, effectively revoking the membership's ability to reclaim its shares, meaning Belenenses could not buy back the club they sold. The court's ruling meant that Code City would now own the club of Belenenses. Code City had established a new club to compete in the first division, Belenenses SAD. They would compete without any of the history or the legacy, as well as the fans of Belenenses. Belenenses SAD had retained the place in the Premier Liga, but they lost all the rights to use the original club's crest, stadium, and history. The supporters were heartbroken, and they turned their backs on the SAD and decided to start over, all the way in the lowest division of Portuguese football. From the ashes, a rebirth began. The original Belenenses, now forced to start in the lower leagues of Portuguese football, began climbing back through the ranks, carrying traditions and soul of the club with them. Their journey began in the Lisbon regional leagues, the 6th tier of Portuguese football, a far cry from the stadiums of the Primeira Liga, but with unwavering fan support and a clear mission, they quickly gained promotion in their first season. Belenenses continued their resurgence, securing back-to-back promotions in the next 2 consecutive seasons. And by 2021, they reached the Campeonato de Portugal, the 3rd tier of Portuguese football at the time. They still had their home in one of the most famous and astonishing stadiums in Portugal, the Estádio de Restelo. And it once again became a fortress, with thousands of loyal fans packing the home stands each match day, including in the 6th division, as they were here to support the club's revival. On the flip side of that though, Belenenses SAD had home attendances of only a few hundred, while the new amateur team had 5,000 every week. Meanwhile, Belenenses SAD, which is now a corporate-driven entity, without the historic backing and the fans, struggled. Fans deserted them and performances on the pitch declined. The Portuguese Football Federation actually told Belenenses SAD that they were no longer able to use the Belenenses name, as that didn't actually belong to them. From now on, Belenenses has renamed its club to BSAD. Yes, genuinely BSAD. And there was a reason to be sad for BSAD. To say they were a stain on Portuguese football is nothing short of the truth. In one of the most embarrassing days in Portuguese football history, in 2021, BSAD entered the pitch for a game against Benfica with only 9 men, due to COVID being spread and also a number of injuries. This even included the goalkeeper playing at left back. Benfica scored 7 goals in the first half, and the match ended after that first half, with Belenenses being unable to continue due to players claiming they had physical injuries. What is more annoying about this is that I put a bet on that game, and I told my friend to put a bet on of, I think I put over 8 goals and my friend put over 5. He won a lot of money, and of course I thought the game was going to go into the second half. They were going to win like 11-0. I was going to make loads of money, but then, you know, it stopped after half time. So I am still very hurt about that, to be honest. Probably why I don't like BSAD as much as, you know, everyone else does. I have a reason to hate them. They stole money from me. The downfall of BSAD would continue, as they actually were relegated in 2022 to the second division. They finished dead last in the league with 26 points. In that same season, Belenenses would get promoted to a newly crowned third division due to the structure in Liga Portugal changing. The season after was even more hilariously bad for BSAD. In fact, they were relegated again, having back-to-back relegations and ending up in Liga 3, the same division that Belenenses were just promoted to. And this meant a revenge game was on the cards for Belenenses. But after their second relegation, BSAD would be no more. BSAD tried to arrange a merger with another team, Clube de Piedade, in Liga 3. The boards of BSAD and Clube de Piedade approved a merger, with the new club assuming BSAD's league position in Liga 3, but taking on the name, the identity and the facilities of Clube de Piedade. Piedade had not played senior football in 2 years after being expelled for administrative reasons from the second tier of Portuguese football. But even more hilariously, the Portuguese Football Federation declined to license the merger between BSAD and Clube de Piedade, effectively barring the new entity from competing in Liga 3 or any tournaments overseen by the federation. Consequently, Clube de Piedade SAD was relegated from playing in the district divisions, and they had to start again, much like the original Belenenses, but without the fan support and the backing. So where does this leave us currently? Belenenses are currently in Liga 3, and as of recording, they are in the promotion phase, and they are currently level on points with Sporting in 3rd place. But however, only the top 2 would get promoted to the second division of Portugal. Meanwhile, no one really knows what happened to Clube de Piedade SAD. There's no articles about them, there's no football scores about them. As far as I could research, their last official game was in July of 2022, but I can't seem to find any more information. So if you do know, please let me know in the comments. But as far as I know, they might not even exist anymore. Today, the story of Belenenses is one of perseverance. The club that once conquered Portuguese football, fighting its way back, with its loyal supporters and the club's legacy intact. The true Belenenses is proving that football is more than just a business. It's about passion, it's about identity, it's about the fans, it is about passion, it is about legacy, and it's about their fans not turning their backs on the club and managing to resurrect it from the ashes. So that is the end of this video about Belenenses and BSAD. Please let me know if you enjoyed this type of content. I've got lots of other stuff coming and lots of other stuff planned. Let me know what you guys want to see though. Do you want to see more about English football, Portuguese football, a mixture between the two? Let me know. Anyway, I've been Sam Fonseca. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time, man. Peace.